Well, right now, Vermont is extremely dependent on fossil fuels. About 11% of our electricity, about 86% of our heating, and about 96% of our transportation is dependent on fossil fuels. Well, we drive more than average in the United States. The problem is that Vermont doesn't produce any of this stuff, so it's all imported. So we have no sovereignty over energy. People talk about food sovereignty,
right.
Being able to grow your own food and be more secure in your food supply rather than being dependent. We're completely dependent on, outside the state for most of our energy. So we're like a colony. I call Vermont a banana republic. Because everything's owned by out-of-state people. We have no control over our own destiny. Because we've given control away to all these outside forces. One of the things people don't realize is that we have 580 megawatts of hydro potential in the state, which is more than half of the entire peak load of the state. You'd have to look at the different sectors. You have
right.
Electricity, you have heating, and you have transportation. Electricity, absolutely, Vermont could produce 100% of its own supply through renewable energy. Heating, you would have to have a lot more wood and biofuels. Studies have been done showing that you could grow enough wood in the state to all the buildings in the state. Transportation would be the hardest. Right now, it's completely dependent on petroleum. We also have an extremely inefficient transportation system because it's based on internal combustion, and internal combustion is obsolete because internal combustion only turns about 15% of the energy into work, whereas in electric vehicles, it's about 80% or more. I actually think electricity is not a problem at all. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm much more worried about heating and transportation, and those are going to be harder. So can we do it? Yeah, I think we can. But, for example, England switched their electric grid from mostly coal to mostly natural gas in 10 years. So transitions can be made.
Right.
If we have the will. Well, hydro can compete with anything. It's really cheap. And I think that Vermont hasn't done very well with hydro. We have so much hydro potential on existing dams, something like 200 or 300 megawatts that could be developed without building one new dam. Now again, we're talking about electricity, but if you want to go to an electric transportation system, then you have to talk about more electricity than we have now. One of my favorite ideas, which is most people think is really off the wall, but it's actually being developed all over the world now, is powered roadways. Burying a wire in the road and then picking up the power magnetically. And that's happening. There's research all over the world on that right now because that eliminates the problem with batteries. The one that works is hybrid vehicles of some kind where you have onboard power generation, either through a fuel cell or through some kind of fuel, and then use electric drive whenever you can. And that's a good sort of transition, I think. It's a good idea. We ought to try it.